Hey, welcome back to Recap Stories. Today we're looking at the horror comedy film Happy Death Day. I hope you enjoy the video and spoilers ahead. Tree Gelbman, or Teresa, is a college girl who apparently had a bit too much to drink the night prior. She wakes up in the dorm room of Carter Davis and gets a text from her father wishing her a happy birthday. Tree tells Carter not a word of this to anyone, and she leaves. The sights and sounds are all a bit too much for her as she's dealing with her hangover. She runs into a guy named Tim who asks why she hasn't texted him. Tree roasts the poor guy and carries on. She arrives at her sorority trying not to alert the other girls of her late arrival home. Danielle catches her saying she hopes they use a condom because they don't want her looking like a whore. Tree's late for class, and before she can leave, her roommate Lori hands her a cupcake. Tree tosses it in the garbage and Lori is hurt, saying she made it from scratch. The sorority girls are having a meeting and one named Becky comes with a tray of food. They all look at her like she has leprosy. She goes to leave and bumps into Carter, who dumps the food all over Tree. The girls question if she knows him and she says no, which is a lie. Tree is at the hospital and she runs into Lori, who she's surprised to see. Lori tells her what she's about to do will bite her in the ass one day, and Tree tells her it's none of her goddamn business. She enters an office and her teacher Greg comes in. They've got a little fling going on and are trying to keep it quiet. However, his wife shows up, breaking up their little adulterous party. Tree is painting her toes in her room. Danielle comes to see when Tree will be coming to the party tonight. A brief flicker in the power, which I'm sure means nothing. Tree's walking alone heading to the party. She walks through a crowd of college students and one with a creepy baby mask stops and stares at her. Tree comes to a tunnel and there's a music box playing Happy Birthday. She tells everyone they can come out now, but no one does. A noise startles her and she turns to see that masked person standing there. She's gonna call the cops and the person runs off. The masked man drops behind and tries to stab her. He grabs her head, pulling it back, and stabs. Tree wakes up back in Carter's dorm. The same events are playing out as before, except she remembers his name this time. He says it's like you've been here before, and she gives him a confused look like she has. She runs into Tim again. Tree asks him what day it is and walks away all shooken up. Tree thinks she's just experiencing deja vu. She's at the meeting all zoned out and turns to see the baby masks. Tree sees her teacher again, wanting to talk to him about what's going on, but he has other things on his mind. His wife shows up again, ending that. Danielle is talking to her about the party again and she's spaced out. The power goes out again and it's party time. We see the masked person staring at her and this time she sees him too. The music box is playing again. This time, however, she goes back the way she came. Tree arrives at the location of the party and it's all dark. She tries the door but it's locked. Tree turns and sees the baby-faced person punching them in the face. Turns out it's a surprise birthday party for her. She apologizes to Nick, the guy she punched, and he says she can make it up to him later. Danielle here is a tad jealous. Nick heads into a room and Tree follows. She's fixing herself in the mirror and sees Nick with the mask on again, saying he scared her. She takes off the mask and we see it actually is Nick. He starts blasting some lights and music, and while Tree is looking at her phone, we see the baby-faced killer come from behind him. Nick's getting repeatedly stabbed while she's completely oblivious. She turns thinking it's Nick. After a brief struggle, Babyface breaks a bong and stabs her with it. She wakes up again in Carter's room and she's starting to freak out. She thinks she's living a nightmare. Tree rushes back home and Lori asks her what's wrong. She thinks she's losing her mind. Tree explains to Lori she's lived this day twice, even telling her about the cupcake and surprise party. Lori thinks someone just told her. Tree says someone is going to kill me tonight and Lori thinks it's a joke. That night, Tree locks her door and boards up her windows. She opens a birthday card and inside is a baby face and reads, "Enjoy today because there is no tomorrow." A noise from her closet startles her and she slowly walks over to check it out. She finds nothing but hears something in the bathroom. Her TV turns on and she's about to check behind the shower curtain. She comes back out and the baby-faced killer is behind her. He rushes at the door, stabbing her with a knife. Tree wakes up screaming, scaring Carter. She's freaking out and throws her phone. Tree has completely lost it at this point. Carter finds her and tells Tree she forgot her stuff, and she tells him to help her. Tree has told Carter what's happening and he asks why of all days today. Her phone goes off, revealing it's her birthday, and Carter says it's symbolic. Whoever is killing her knows it's her birthday. Carter asks who could have motive, but so far it could be anyone as she treats everyone like garbage. She starts making a list, knocking off each suspect one by one as she gets murdered each and every time. Tree wakes up telling Carter his plan sucks. She's experiencing some kind of pain that she wasn't before though. Her vision is blurry and fish-eyed, and she passes out in the arms of his friend Ryan. She wakes up in the hospital and sees a figure thinking it's Babyface, but it's just Carter. Lights flicker and Greg is just standing there. He tells Carter visiting hours are over. He tells her based off her x-rays she should be dead. Greg leaves to get her a drink and she's taken off. Tree grabs car keys from his desk and finds the Babyface mask. Greg finds her in the hall, but Babyface stabs him. She's in the parking garage looking for Greg's car, and Babyface is searching around for her. Tree is in Greg's car and Babyface smashes a window trying to grab her. She drives out, leaving Babyface behind. Tree's all excited as she believes she's lost him. The police pull her over and she's driving a stolen car. She tries explaining to the officer what's going on and he thinks she's on drugs. Tree tells him she's drunk and high so she can get arrested and be locked up in jail. The cop is hit by a car and Babyface comes out. She tells Babyface to show his real face and he walks back to his car. The police car is bleeding fuel and Babyface drops a lit candle, blowing it and her up. She wakes up and she's just used to this whole routine at this point. Carter follows her, wanting to know what's going on, and she said last time she told him, he was no help. Tree points out a bunch of things that are about to happen and Carter suddenly believes her. They're at a diner and her father calls again. Carter says he was never close to his father either. Tree has a strained relationship with her father and her mother has passed. She also shares the same birthday with her mother. Tree says if her mother saw who she's become, she wouldn't be proud of her. Carter tells her every new day is a chance to be a better person, and she tells him she doesn't have many days left, as each day she comes back, she's weaker. Tree sees a news report on the TV about a serial killer named Toombs and realizes he's been at the hospital this whole time and is going to escape. She's at the hospital and breaks some glass and grabs an axe. Going into Toombs' room, she finds a security guard dead. Toombs is behind her and shoots at her, just missing. Tree's at an elevator. Toombs removes his mask and is about to fire. Just then Carter arrives and gives him a nice spear. She goes to shoot, but nothing happens. He breaks Carter's neck and chases off after her. She runs into the bell tower. Toombs is yelling for her and she smacks him with a crowbar. Before she kills him, she thinks about Carter, realizing he stays dead if Toombs dies. She ties a rope around her neck and jumps, saying, "I'll see you tomorrow." Tree is going around helping everyone she's blown off previous days, signing petitions, warning people of sprinklers, and placing a pillow under the head of a guy that passes out. Tree apologizes to Lori for being a huge bitch this whole time, and she ends things with Greg. Becky arrives to the meeting with her food, and before anyone can say anything, Tree does too and starts stuffing her face with fries. She runs into Carter like usual and asks him out for dinner, and maybe more tomorrow. If there is a tomorrow. Tree meets her father for that lunch she kept ignoring. She tells him this day is hard for her because she misses her mom. Tree apologizes for hurting him time and time again and he wishes her happy birthday. She's getting ready for war now. Tree puts a knife to the security guard's neck and grabs his gun. She tells him Toombs is going to escape and to get help. Tree enters his room with the gun focused on him. The safety is on the gun and Toombs attacks her. He's about to stab her and the power goes out again. It powers back on and she's behind him with the gun. She turns the safety off this time and shoots him. Back at her room, she's with Carter. He asks what she's going to wish for and she says tomorrow. She wakes up and it's the same day again. Tree is losing it because she killed him. Lori brings her the same cupcake again and Tree tells her thanks, but she already ate it last night. It then dawns on her. She died in her sleep. She's never eaten the cupcake before and Lori poisoned it. She used Toombs as a scapegoat. Lori is and always was the killer. She claims she would never do anything like that. Tree tells her prove it then. Take a bite. Lori attacks her and locks the door. She's upset because Tree was sleeping with Greg and she wanted him. The two women are fighting on the bed. Tree shoves the cupcake into Lori's mouth and kicks her out the goddamn window. She's with Carter at a diner and he says, "You know what your little scenario reminds me of? The movie Groundhog Day." She wakes up the next day and it's all happening again. Except it isn't. Carter's just messing with her. The two make out and the movie ends. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more, please subscribe as that would help me out greatly. Thank you all for watching and as always, do take care.